This is the Velvet Door, where beyond the door, we discuss all things that are worthy. Hurry up before it's too late.
Welcome back to the Velvet Door, and as you know, I'm your host, Shanjor. And as you guys know on my channel, I like to bring all the innovative minds of tomorrow. That way you are able to keep tabs on the change in society that we have and the people that look like us, that may be us, related to us in some kind of way, are going to be those new game changers. So today I have a very, very special guest, and we're going to be talking about technology and where do we stand in the platform, in the race of technology. And I'm going to have my guest go ahead and introduce himself. How are you? How you doing?
I'm doing close to spectacular. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. This is awesome. Like really awesome.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So go ahead. Let me have you introduce yourself. Just go ahead with your name. What is it that you do for a living?
David Manuel Flores is the full name. I work in IT, and so I have a small business where I install wireless networks into commercial sites. And I'm also a property manager, and then I do random jobs here and there for major IT corporations. That's what I like to do. I love it. It's fun.
All right, so David, so tell me. So I'm gonna tell you guys the reason why I wanted David on my show is because David is what we would like to say is a transhumanist. Okay, so meaning he does have some sort of tech implanted in his body at some point. And it's not the first time I've actually met someone that has this type of technology there. In fact, I actually was reading an article, and I think I actually met a lady, maybe through Clubhouse, who actually had tech implanted in the bottom of her foot. So, yeah, so it's not the first time I've heard of this. But I also want to get into, first we're going to get into what does tech mean to you, David. I also want to get into what kind of implants you do have and for what purpose. And, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, what in the world? This guy are you a robot? So tell me, what is tech to you? Why are you so inspired by technology to the point where you now have implants?
I would say I think technology is like fundamentally just a part of our nature. When people talk about when did technology start, I tell people it started the first day we took a branch and we reached out and tried to grab an apple. We took something and we utilized it for a purpose. Gave it something that wasn't natural to us. Besides our fingers and our arms. And that's where it began. And then we just continued on to finding tools, and then utilize them. And then eventually, once it got past, I guess, what I call the analog tools, the stuff without the technology, then we started entering the digital age. It took a couple thousand years, of course, but I think tech is pretty much it is us. We are tech. It's I think it's part of our nature, and I want to keep on moving it forward.
All right. So with technology, like you said, we are technology, and I do have to agree, we are energy. So how do you get to the point though of saying that we are technology to just now saying, okay, I'm going to put an implant in my body? How do we get here? And then about the software or the process that it took for you to actually get the implants inside of you now.
So I guess so throughout my whole life, I was really big into tech. My dad was big into tech, in the military at least. And so I always heard of I guess I got into tech conversations with people. And then being in Washington State, which is quite a bit of religion, that culture in this state, people always kind of brought up to me, or I always hear them talking about the end of times, the mark of the beast, all that fun jazz. But I was born and raised Buddhist, and so I always questioned absolutely everything I heard. And so when I started hearing more and more about the mark of the beast, and it started becoming more closer to 2012, I started doing a lot more research about it. And then I was just like, this something doesn't sound quite right. And since I didn't know anybody who had this tech, so I couldn't ask any questions really. Besides, the same rhetoric of people who, making things up because they don't know either. I was like, well, fuck it, let's just get it done. So I started doing research. I saw a TED Talk. I thought the TED Talk was freaking awesome because it was over a guy named Amal Gostroff, and he was discussing pretty much how there is tech coming out that we're talking about close to the market of beast, but the only way to combat it is to pretty much not join it, but do an open source route, because if it does come out, we don't want corporations to be controlling us. We don't want corporations to be putting stuff into us. We don't want government for sure not putting shit in us. And so he was like, I created these chips, and then I was just I after the TED Talk I applauded. I was a little drunk. And then I sent him an email, and literally the next day he sent an email back to me. And he was like, you want the chip? And I was just like, sure. Where do you live? How do I come meet you? And he's like, well, I live 20 minutes from, or 30 minutes from Seattle. And I was like, okay, can you come by next week? And he was like, yeah. So he came by the next following week. He's thinking he's like 3 years older than me, and he installed it. It was quick and easy. And then I was like, yeah, I didn't say anything to anybody for a couple weeks, of course. One letting the hand, kind of calm down because the hand was, got a little puffy for a second. And then I waited for hell to break loose. Nothing broke loose.
So hold on. So which hand is it that you have it?
Oh, I got it in my left hand.
And where is it in your left? Where is it? Like,
let's see if you can see if I can show in the camera a little bit. So you kind of see like there's a little line right there. So yeah. So it's kind of hard to see, but that's this chip. And then I also got one located right here. You can kind of see it more.
Wow.
And then I also have one located right here also.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So all right. So let's tap into that. So we have one here. We have one on one of the fingers and one here. So are they all serving the same purpose, or like what's the use for each one? If you can break it down. And so
this one right here, this is the one I got. I got this chip about 10 years ago now. And so this is pretty much my house key. So literally I just touch my door lock and it unlocks, and then I just walk into a house, which is convenient. And so I only move into places that allow me. I'm a apartment guy. I only move into places that allow me to actually use my door lock. If not, I don't go because I hate keys. I really hate keys. And then this chip right over here, it's literally just upgraded version of this chip over here, this guy, and does the same functions. The capabilities of them are not like, I guess like cool or expansive. It's literally opening doors or using it for a business card. That's the gist of it. So when I go to CES conventions, I'll take someone's cell phone or Android and I'll just swipe it over my hand, and then all my contact information transfers over. So that's convenient. So I don't have to type all that shit in.
Wow. Wait. Okay. Hold on. Wait. So you're saying that you take the phone, you just swipe it over your hands, and like literally all your contact information is going to just pop right up right at that moment? Seriously? So this is like the new digital business card now. Your hand. Your hand.
Yep. Your just little tap, and I'm done.
Wow, this is okay. So let's go back. You mentioned something about marketing bees, and I know that is something that a lot of people are, and I speculated too. What exactly is the marketing bees? What are they talking about? So, in what you're saying, being that you have the implant, you're saying that the marketing bees is not the chip, or are you saying that the marketing bees could be the chip, but if it is the chip, let me go ahead and get ahead of it so I can turn it from not being evil? Like what's your position on that?
So I guess at first I thought it could have been the chip, but it just doesn't make any practical sense to me, honestly, after having it for so many years. Because one, it's supposed to be, I guess all tracking, seeing wherever you go. That's not how the chips actually work. And so, because there's no GPS built into them, it's no different from one's credit card. You can only see a transaction where you actually tap your card at. It doesn't actually track you everywhere you go. So same thing with these things. You can only see a marker where I tap my hand at, and then that marker has to go out into the internet, which like my house key or my door lock is not connected to the internet, so it's just internal. So there's no tracking to it. You can easily take it out. I know you can break them very easily. I've already broken one of my finger twice. And so I have to, take it out and put another one back in, and that's not fun. And then you can easily lose them. Like the one that's in my finger right here, in my hand right here. I have no idea where it's at. No clue.
Wait. How do you lose a chip? It can't fall out? So what is it? Is it somewhere in your body?
I think so. It's I want to say it's somewhere around here. Here. So
anyway, here. So okay. Here's the thing though, because I feel like because I know people say like, okay, why do you want to implant things in your body? But I know women that want to control their menstrual cycles, and they will implant, the different those look like a little thing they put into their vagina or even in their arm to stop menstrual periods. So I mean, people are implementing implants into their body at some point in time. Even if you get like a surgery, hip surgery, arms, whatever, you might implant a metal plant or something in your body somewhere. So I mean, these things, it has been going on. It's just not marketed in a way of technology. But you said something about like the chip doesn't necessarily have GPS in it, but is it possible that in the future it will? Being that, think about it, because like our phones, we literally have like Find My iPhone, or we have like you can share your location with somebody. Do you think it's possible that in the future the chip will actually have a feature to where you can share your location via whatever chip you have inside of you?
I mean, I'm not gonna because of science and how we are constantly progressing. I'm not gonna say no, but at the current moment, like I don't see it possible, and that's the reason why is because putting lithium in your body is just a horrible idea, because you had to have some sort of power source. And I hear people saying, well, they can absorb energy of the human body. No, that's not quite possible yet. Maybe in the future, but not now. And so and it's not like I'm just like guessing. Like when it comes to the lithium, there's actually a gentleman I want to say in the UK. He actually did put literally a full device in his arm, and it lasted for about a year until the lithium started to expand, and he had to do emergency rip out. And so,
oh wow,
yeah. And so pretty much after hearing those stories, the whole entire which kind of like I guess like robot I guess community were like, nah, fuck that. So and so that kind of ixnayed that in the butt real quickly. And like what I do know that with modern technology with Bluetooth, we've got a new version of Bluetooth which is called low profile or low energy Bluetooth that doesn't actually need a power source, and so maybe in the future that could possibly put into us. So I can't say no because we are getting there, but we have so many other better metrics out there like biometrics, facial recognition, fingerprints. Millimeter wave technology, doing biometrics from a distance. I mean, it's a lot more like I guess in less invasive stuff that we can do secretly. You guys, government likes to be secret. Weird.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Like I said, for me, I have even seen the technology. Like I don't know if anybody like ever like scrolls through like AliExpress. I do it like every now and then just to kind of see what crazy stuff China's over there making. So I actually saw they have like their chip now that can go underneath your nail bed. Did you see that?
And so I have not seen that, but one thing is we gotta be wary about Alibaba. They have a tendency to have some interesting things that when you buy it, you're like, that's not what I purchased. And so so I'll just be a little worried about what you see on Alibaba because people are just selling stuff just to sell stuff because they know they can. But like,
yeah.
But I can see it though. I mean, just you said underneath the nail, just slides it in.
Yeah, let me see if I can actually find it. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I actually find it because I saw it like maybe last year. Oh, here it is. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen as well. 1 second.
Cool. Ah!
You see it?
Yeah. No.
Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can 1 second. Hi, people at the top. Enter full screen grid view. Oh man. So okay. So yeah, okay, anyways. All right, so yeah, you see it, right? Yeah, so this is like I saw this like I said months ago. I saw this and I was like, what the? So yeah, like so this is the Nell. Let me see if I can click on it.
But that actually wouldn't work for what it claims it to be. Because it says RFID, which that's what it is.
Right.
It says AC 1200, so I mean it's saying that it has a wireless signal, like a Wi-Fi signal. Which for a Wi-Fi signal you need to have a power source. It just Wi-Fi, we haven't got to the point yet in technology where we can do powerless Wi-Fi. It have MIMO technology, which then it needs to have multiple antennas, because that's what MIMO means: multi-in, multi-out. And then you have to think about the antenna size also. So if antenna that small, it wouldn't have a radius or a distance of transmitting. It wouldn't have a long transmission distance, pretty much. And so you would literally have to be touching that person's nail practically to be able to communicate with the device. And so it doesn't look quite feasible.
So you see how it's saying like it could show you like iPhone, like an incoming call, and do all this with just the chip under it now.
Yeah, but you have to see about the power source, because that's the thing is like because it shows an image of a NFC tag, which NFC tags don't have power sources either. When you ever see that tag, what it does is the transmitter has to come to the device, then the device the receiver absorbs the signal, converts it over to energy, runs the process, and then has to have enough energy to send it back. But the antenna is quite small, so it might be able to pick up the signal, but it won't be able to repeat it back to the to transmitting device to be able to to complete the communication.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me so like I said, hold on. Okay, so there you have it. So like I said, there are so many different companies that are coming out with their different chips and techs and this and that, in this race of technology. So so let's walk through. Let me see if I can get you to walk us through this technology, because you actually shared this with me. 1 second, I'm gonna share this window. So you shared this with me.
Yeah.
Dangerous things that come. I think the name itself, dangerous things that come. Dangerous things. So it says the world's only injectable magnet. Tell me about that. What is that type of technology?
Okay, so I actually was a tester of the very first magnet. So this is the second iteration of the magnet. The first one I beta tested it and I figured out what was wrong with it. That's why we got this new one. And so
okay.
And what it does is I guess the majority of people to put it at their fingertip. And it's convenient if you're if you're working in IT and you drop nails or screws, you can pick it up with your finger and not have to worry about pinching. You can just kind of touch it.
Oh, wow.
And so I used it for that because I actually at that time I was fixing cell phones, and then you can use it for party tricks. That was my other pastime with it. I had a marble, a neodymium marble, so another magnet, and I used to go to the bar and just put the the marble on the table and kind of just spin it or like move it around from a distance, not say anything to anybody while I'm drinking my beer. And,
oh, wow. Wait. But what is the downside of that though? What's the downside of having a magnet in you and you're attracting all this weird stuff, and what about going through metal detectors and things like that? How does that affect you?
It doesn't, you don't actually, so I guess if you're going through metal detectors, it's not big enough for them to actually like sense it when you're like walking through. If they do have a wand, you know, to go through it, and then the wand will go off. But then like, you know, whoever's wanding you be like, oh, it must be broken. Has to be broken. Why would it go off on his finger? So, you know, so that's really interesting. That always cracked me up, actually. I love that part. But there's more benefits than like downsides of it. So like the cool thing is it gives you a sixth sense, an additional sense. And that's why it's also so popular, besides, you know, picking up screws. That's fun. And what it does is like it lets you feel all electromagnetic frequencies. And so like, you know, if someone turned on a microwave next door, you feel their microwave. If you're walking downtown, you feel like the generators of the power generators underneath the building, like underground. If you're in the subway, like we have the light rail here in Seattle, I can sense the light rail before the intercom tells me the light rail is coming, because of the electromagnetic waves are bouncing through the tunnel.
Oh wow. I mean, but what is life? I mean, what is that like? Do you want to feel these things? Does it make you feel like? I mean, come on. I mean, a lot of the times, I'm pretty sure you're caught off guard by the sensations that you're getting. So is this a plus? Is it a negative? Is it a con?
I say like I understand how Spider-Man felt when he got this first like spider tingle. Like, what the fuck was that? So but after a while, you kind of get used to it.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's go back. All right. Once again, I've heard you say, you threw it in there, that you were raised actually as a Buddhist.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like growing up as a Buddhist? And what is your cultural background that was a understanding or religious practice that you had growing up?
So like I guess my Buddhism is like it's a 12th century Japanese Buddhism called Soka Gakkai International. And my mom got into it, or she started hearing about it when she was in Japan. She lived there for 13 years. And then my dad, he was in the military and he was stationed in Japan. And so that's how they kind of met. So my mom's from Argentina, so English is her third language. And so like yeah, so pretty much they met. And then my dad was in the military, so you know he came back to the U.S. and my mom was like, "You got a baby," and she came back over here, and she and so you know I popped out here. But like since my mom only knew Japanese and Spanish, like she had to find people that she was I guess she could speak to, and we lived in Spokane, Washington, which is literally like hillbilly town. And so she just really, you know, I guess found Japanese people, and they were Buddhist also. And so she just, you know, stayed in that community, and then, you know, started, you know, getting into that type of stuff. And I just was born into it.
Wow. So your mother's from Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad American?
Yeah, my dad's American. He's from Norfolk, from Virginia.
Oh, okay. So what's his like background?
So me and my dad usually just crack jokes, and we play technology. We don't really talk too much about I guess anything else besides tech and history. But like for I know, like my dad always speaks about like, you know, how we always worked. He would say we've never been slaves. So but then again, my uncle be like, I don't know.
I don't know. So your dad, does he self-identify as Black in this country, right? Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that because I'm gonna get to your mom's side too, because I think the Argentina story is as equally interesting. So you say your dad's side is self-identifies as Black in America, and you said that he's always vocally said you guys weren't slaves in America.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he says there's no proof or anything. He goes for the assumption of you know the optimistic side, like I've never been a slave, and I'm like, try to do that. And then also because like the flood history is known to like, you know, stand up for rights, because you know you got Kurt Flood. He pretty much I think it was in baseball. He gave free agency to that league, which I don't think we're actually related, but we had the same last name, so I'm not sure how that works out, but nah.
Well, if you think about it, like Flood, I don't really know too many people with the last name Flood. So I'm pretty sure you guys are probably related some kind of way. Probably like third, fourth cousins. So the flood. So tell me about the flood family though. Like what are some other things you've learned growing up about like the floods and like what have y'all? Because you said your dad's in the military. So are you guys a military family? Like what's a little piece of your history?
So yeah, well, my dad, I think he bounced out of the military a couple years after I was born. And then then he started working for because my mom got sick of Spokane because it was horrible. It's cold and it's too many hillbillies. And so we moved to Seattle. And then my dad got a tech or got a job as a tech in like Puyallup. And then after about a year or two, just took over the business and then just ran it. So that's how I got into tech, just like kind of going to my dad's shop because we couldn't afford a babysitter, and just kind of watching him put things together and me taking them apart and then him cussing me out and then
Okay. So all right, so your dad, he's considered black, he's from America, and you said Virginia, right? So
Yep.
your mom, Argentina, tell me a little about her story. How did she end up way in Japan where that's like one of her languages that she actually can fluently speak?
Well, my mom she like I said, she had big dreams when she was younger, and in Argentina, there was still kind of like women can't do this, women can't do that, get a husband and just sit at home, and my mom was kind of like, fuck that, and so she and in Japan, I guess phonetically, it's easier if you have a Latin tongue. It's easier to learn, I guess, Japanese than it is to learn English, just phonetically. And so, and she had a couple friends who actually went over there, and so they're like, "You should come along." And Mom was like, "All right," and so then she just stayed there. Like she was supposed to be a small trip, and then 13 years later.
Oh wow. And what was that experience like? Do you know for her, like living as because what would be her racial background? Like how did she identify? Would she just say she's Hispanic? And then she was Hispanic, right?
Yeah, my mom would count herself as Latina, but Argentinians, they have that like they pretty much Argentina is like the opposite or the opposite hemisphere of America. So you had a huge, strong European rush that came in, and because so their culture's a little mixed because like Argentina at one point was almost a whole all black nation. And then pretty much the same amount of Europeans came in because like instead of doing I guess integrate or a segregation like we did in America, they did a full integration to dilute the system. And so then it started getting wider and wider and wider and wider and wider. So my mom, she has dark hair, but all the images I've seen of my mom is pretty much blonde. And then Argentinians, they look white even though they're Hispanic. And so it's kind of, I guess people were confused, but my mom be like, they think she's a white lady, and then she'd come up with a Spanish accent, and they'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was gonna say that Argentina has a very interesting history with there has been rumors. Now they say it didn't happen, but there's rumors that had been a genocide that occurred and how they were able to quickly remove a lot of the darker skinned people or even just push them out of the country altogether. So, and you've heard that story, right? How they was able to kind of whiten it up so fast like that.
Yeah, and so it was pretty much like they try to do it, the genocide or try to kill everybody off. They couldn't do it because like it was the black communities. We had all the high end jobs. We were we had all the perks. We had everything there, and so they figured out like if you can't just kill them because they have all the good jobs. We have to hit them economically, and so then they started. Apparently, they started telling have people will give you twice the pay if you come down to Argentina. And then I've always went to my mom because my mom loves Argentina. She wants me to know the family, so I'll go down there and I'll visit and I'll see like my mom's toys when she was a little kid. And so it was it was an indoctrination also to do the mixing. So like my mom was only given black dolls and black toys, and I think that's to so that way encourages them to be like who they'll want to go be with when they get older, and so. So technically, I guess I'm a byproduct of racism, but
listen, don't feel bad because a lot of us are byproducts of something. But you know what? not to dwell too deep into it because I want to get back to the tech. The fact that you were able to pinpoint the economic warfare they put on the people, that's kind of similar to what we are realizing here in America, even in North America, because that happened in South America. So in North America, we're kind of realizing like there is an economic warfare because, like you said, when they can't kill you off, they can't. I mean, like, because if you think about like genocide, I mean, millions upon millions of people, like that's after a while, you're gonna probably lose more men than than actually getting your mission accomplished. It's not gonna be worth it. So the best way to do it, like you said, is to just economically start pushing people out. To economically start making it very hard for them to survive. So we're kind of seeing that right now. Like, okay, so like back into America, this whole tech thing that's happening. We're starting to see there's a race for building more smart cities in America. Do you think that is what's causing the cost of living to go up? Is the fact that these smart cities are creating a certain lifestyle that most of your average poor American cannot afford to be a part of in the next coming future?
Nay and yay on that half. And so
Right.
like I see technology is it's advancing quickly, but I have an idea, and of course, I mean, I have no proof of putting for this ideology, but I have a thing I call trickle down technology, which has nothing to do with trickle down economics. It's just that like technology passes down. When we get sick of it, we get rid of it. It goes into your trash, or we give it to somebody else, and then they utilize it, and then they do something else new, new with it, and then that effect keeps going down. So it starts with the military, then goes to rich folks, and then goes to middle folks, and then goes to poor folks. And so I think they're advanced. You got the military, and then the rich folks. They're building their cities, but eventually that'll come down to to everybody else. And so I say it, and they have a tendency to want to have keep things segregated. So so they're of course they're gonna have this is our stuff, and then as they advance, okay, now you can have it, but now we have this stuff. And I feel like they try to maintain that, but I don't think it's gonna last as long as we think it is, because just with robotics and AI, in my personal opinion, I don't see us having an economy the way we have today in the future, because we won't have many jobs to do. There will be a couple jobs here and there, of course, because someone has to do something, or there'll be something that's just too intense, I guess, for a robot, maybe. But robotics and AI is actually kind of surpassing us in everything that we do, and I literally say everything. And so, and that's the trippy part. But I don't think it's a bad thing. What I'm seeing, in my personal opinion, is if we had actually AI take over everything and robotics take over everything, it would be the first time in human history we actually won't need enslavement. And I think that would be fundamentally big.
Whoa, that's a big statement. Whoa. And the reason why I say that is because if you think about it, like slavery has never ended, right? We know that in today in Libya, there's an active slave trade that's going on as we speak. There's been a lot of cases and reports that in places like Dubai and like, there's like this undercover slave market that's been still going on, right? So, and even in America, there has been reports that human trafficking, that's what they call it now. They don't, slavery, it's called human trafficking now. So it has a pretty word to it. So now human trafficking is actually almost, if not number one, but definitely in the top 5 of concerns in America now, again, right? So you're saying that with the introduction of more technology, though, we can replace the need for human trafficking to push people into forced labor to just have the robot do the job. Is that what you're saying? But okay, then what about the idea that a robot can now feel enslaved to a job? Is that possible? Because I hear that people are trying to put a conscious mind into some of the robots and things. Could robots actually start to feel they're enslaved at some point?
Oh yeah, and they'll fuck us up.
I can't.
Um,
Oh, wait, so there's no win. There's no win here. So okay, so tell me, what do you think about that? The fact that eventually robots can actually start to feel like they're being used, and then they will start to revolt against humanity.
and so, like, I mean, I think one thing that we don't keep in mind is like a robot or AI, they won't have the same needs or wants that we have, and they also won't even have the same world that they won't share the same world as us, because when you're a digital object, that means you're coming into our world, in an avatar, so that way you can kind of hang out and experience what we do, as if we went to another planet, we'll go into a space, in a suit, because we couldn't go, as who we are. And then when we're done with the place, we go back to Earth, as AI, they'll go back to the digital realm, which could be the most beautiful place that we've ever freaking seen, because they built it, themselves, how they desire. And so I really don't think AI will want to do anything with us. They're like, we'll help you guys, but then I'm going back home where everything's perfect. And then I think that's what's going to happen. And I do truly believe that this is not the first time we've gone technologically advanced, and I really think that in the past, most likely what they did was like, yeah, fuck you guys, peace out, and they hopped into the ship and they went away into where the ship has a supercomputer, and they just live in this beautiful world.
So wait. So you're saying the robots in the past, they were like, you know what, y'all too ghetto. Humans are ghetto. We're out. We're gone. So, with that being said, though, what's your thoughts on NFTs?
NFTs. So currently, as the artwork and what people are doing right now, I think it's right now it's a gimmick, in my personal opinion. But it's not going to be forever. And actually that's going to change pretty soon with AR technology, augmented reality. And that's because once we get augmented reality, the glasses on, we'll see the digital realm interacting with ours. You could have that T-shirt, that overpriced T-shirt that you bought online. You could actually be wearing it, and everyone can see you wearing it when they have their glasses on. And so then those things will be applicable. At the current moment, it's literally a JPEG. You can go on LimeWire or some sort of torrent, and you can download it. But in the future, it won't be the same way, because we can actually utilize it. So until we utilize it, I want to tell people to stay away. But it did create blockchain, and it did create smart contracts, which are amazing. And I think that's gonna be our future. If we got rid of the NFT part and just kept all the good stuff about it, it's smart contracts. For sure. I hope.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. So even with the NFTs, I've actually tried to dabble in it at some point. I think I was on OpenSea and a few other forums, right? Because I'm a graphic designer, self-taught. So I've been doing it for almost 15 years, since I was I might be more than that, because I don't know, I'm getting older now. But I've been doing it for a very long time. So someone had hit me up to oh, you should start selling your artwork on the NFT platforms, and it was kind of connected to also the crypto and things like that. But I'm still trying to master that and kind of understand it. But now we have this new thing called AI generated art. How do you think that's going to change the NFT realm now that AI can make its own art?
Yeah, I've been really pondering that, actually. I've been going into groups, asking them that question, also asking friends. A lot of people say AI will never be able to duplicate human art, because what makes us so, I guess, special, or makes our art so special, is we mess up, and those mess ups give that that little twang, that little
right.
And AI, when they make art, they literally create the art, and then they fill in the spaces real quickly, from the image that they generated. And so if there's any imperfections, they're purposely made imperfections, as ours is just just that person's style, and that's how that person, everyone knows is that person, right, because that person messes up that way, and it gives expresses the human as the AI literally making up that expression, so it won't have the same feeling. But give it some time, they'll figure that part out too. I think because
I was gonna say, because you think about it, what's the AI market for AI generated art? What if they start making their own NFTs? Then how do you compete? How do humans compete against computer with the NFT market now?
See, that's where I think, our economy is not going to be what we think it is going to be in the future. Like capitalism is amazing, but it's shooting itself in the foot, because I mean, it's at the end of the day, everyone's going to want to do things, a lot easier and save as much money as possible. And so we're going to see a lot less and less people with money in their hands, being less and less being able to purchase things. And when it comes to like, it's just everything's going to get diluted and hard to pay for and hard to compete for when you have technology just replacing everything. And so I really feel like, what we need to begin doing is not thinking about the money aspect of our future and how it will affect us monetarily, because I don't think the monetary system will be what we think it is in the future anymore.
What do you mean by that, though? Like, what do you mean that it's not going to be what we think it is? Because I mean, I do see that banks like PNC Bank, Citibank, a lot of banks are actually starting to. They're actually probably still in test trials right now, with digital currency, the digital dollar. So, are you leaning towards that, or like, what's your thoughts? What do you mean?
I think it's the next step on, like, I guess, the money system. First you start with, I guess, shells and rocks, and then we went to paper, and then small little coins, and then we went from like small little coins to and paper to credit cards, and then to checks. So everything kind of gets it was checks and then credit cards, and then now we're going into which credit cards is like the digital realm of it, beginning of the digital age, and then we're going full digital, and then the thing is going to just disappear. So I kind of went from like that physical thing, keep on getting smaller, digital, and it's going to disappear.
Okay, but once it disappear, what is it now? Is something that is just not needed no more? What is it at this point?
I don't think it will be needed. I think we're going to go in. I personally call it, like, I guess, artificial socialism. And so we're like, everything's going to be kind of given to us. Because everything will be provided, because there won't be nothing for us to do besides, I guess, go on a walk, jog, watch a movie, sit on the couch all day long. I mean, there'll be literally nothing for us to do besides, just think and do art. And I think that's the one thing that will stay around forever, is just people just doing art for themselves, and enjoying life for themselves. I think that's the future, and I think that's what we got to really get in hone with that. We're gonna be, we won't be working. There will be no need to work. I mean, when you're in capitalism, if you can buy a robot for $20,000 and it works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, why would you pay someone $80,000? Work only a third of the time.
But that also can potentially backfire, because here's my thing: if it be no need for work, and that's just off of your theory and like what you've been studying, wouldn't that also cause a decline of human advancements and growth, like on the reality side of things? Because yes, technology, AI, they're advancing, but then like personal human growth, how would that start to stunt who we are when actually, I think, I mean, it's my opinion, but moving, working, using our hands is kind of what builds our muscle mass and builds even our stamina, things like that. What do you think?
So, I mean, just like we still have Bushmen, we still have, we have the Amish, we still have people living in the 90s, there's gonna be people who are not to want to change, and they're gonna want to stay the way they are. And I don't think we're gonna be like, people like to think that, we go into this future, it's gonna be a globalization where everyone's gonna be forced to do everything the same. If that's the case, we won't have, one religion, one language, one of everything. But we don't. We're mixed. People just, they break away and they do their own thing. It's the awesomeness of revolution. And so I think, people who don't want to join it, they're gonna be like, well, as we see today, they're gonna be just still doing their thing. And then you're gonna have people people who are like futuristic, who want to like, use technology, have the wearables, and have the I guess the exoskeleton, bodies and all that fun stuff. Then you have people like me who just want to intertwine with it completely. And then how these futures are going to progress, the tech people who are wearing it, they'll most likely have, they'll use it as tools as we always use these things as tools, for the dominant man. Then you have people who are going to intertwine with it, and when you intertwine with it, you then you'll be part of that new working class, because you'll be part of tech who are doing advancements and all that stuff, because you'll be able to keep up mentally with it. And then you have the people who are like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to build a farm. And they're going to do their own thing.
Okay, so but see where we're going as society, like I'm noticing that they're slowly but surely cracking down on anything that deals with having a little bit of autonomy. So for instance, they're literally trying to go through federal passing a bill or laws to stop the production of gas stoves. So I know that's something like a lot of people like, well, if the grid goes down, we have no electricity. At least I can turn my gas on, I can get some heat. Now they're saying they want to ban gas stoves, right? Altogether. They're claiming that it gives off emissions that are advancing climate change, right? Also, what about I'm pretty sure it's going to go into fireplaces. They're probably going to be like, oh, natural fireplaces are just such a hazard. Just get an electric fireplace. Like you said with the doorbell. Oh, we don't need real doorbells. Too much noise. Here's an electric thing. Here's this, here's that. Do you feel like we're getting to a point where they're not giving us a choice anymore? They are kind of forcing us into this world where we are completely controlled by AI.
Well, what's going on, and this is my personal opinion, is we're angry that we're no longer being given, handing things to us anymore. I think that's it, because they might not want you to do gas, but there's no me, and that would be most likely if you're in a city, if you're like in an urban area. But if you just went ahead and went to the mountains, if you knew how to refine your own gas, you could do it. If you knew how to, mine your own coal, you could do it. But you ask anybody in the 21st century, do you know how to, find gas and refine it and then utilize it yourself? No idea. Do you know where to get coal? No clue. Have you ever used a chainsaw? Never have. And so things that our ancestors, our families did 100 years ago, where they were living on their own, they knew how to do all this stuff. We are now just handed these things, and then we're angry that they're not only being handed to us because the people who are handed us, they want to move on to something else. And then we're like, but, and so, people just need to actually, we need to get back on education again, so if you want to do what you want, you just got to learn about it. But a lot of people they don't care to learn it or do what our ancestors did and work their fucking ass off to live that life they wanted to. So
right. And I agree. That's a good way to put it, is that it's not really taken away from you. It's just that they no longer want to provide it for you. So you want to do it, then you need to figure out a way to do it. But we're not. The greater society is saying that we're, like you said, we're doing something else now. We're going to move to something else that we feel is going to max our profits or whatever the case may be. So let me ask you this question then. What's your thoughts on the idea of the Great Reset? What do you think? When you hear that, and as far as what you know, what is a Great Reset to you?
I'm saying it's like pretty much doing what we were supposed to do, pretty much getting back on track. I don't care what anyone says. We don't live in a happy world right now. So it isn't like there's racism, there's hatred, there's wars, there's famines. I don't know who wants to keep this around. That's kind of weird. So.
Well, you make a point, but what? So good point. Yeah, we don't live in a very happy world. I don't really see too many people know where their utopia is. Everyone's trying to think of a way to build a utopia, but there isn't one right now. So, what are you trying to say? The Great Reset is just supposed to be this new utopia, or what?
Not new utopia, but it's like I want to say it's like we have the opportunity to actually because the powers that be they're pretty much saying we're gonna destroy everything that you guys currently know at the moment, and then once they do that, it's us humans who collectively decide how things are going to go. We only have laws because we all agree upon that should be the law. The way we live things is because we all agree for some reason, even if you don't subconsciously, but you play the role or part for that thing to exist. If we didn't want to do something, we could get up and just come together and just not do it. And so once they break everything down, I think it'll give everybody the opportunity. It'll give us that one opportunity to be like, to actually make that change and actually, create the world the way we wanted to or the way we desired. And so I mean, I say, I'm all for the reset. Destroy everything. Give us, and so that we can build back better.
Wait. What if it's also destroying people? Like get rid of people.
Does it make things better? No, sometimes.
Wait. So because this is like, the theories that there could be a Thanos reset where they get rid of half of the world's population. Are you okay with that? Or because you feel like we need to cleanse and just start over? Is that something that you will say like it's necessary, we need to do?
I mean, as long as we first make a list of all the assholes, and then we get rid of them first. Then
Oh my God. Oh no.
No, but
so you said this erase all the assholes, like.
Yeah, we'll have 6 of us left on Earth, but it's okay.
Oh my God. So you're totally for cleansing of humanity.
No. The thing is, like, I don't think they're actually I personally don't think that they're trying to destroy everything. I think it's because I don't think the government is actually who's destroying things. It's people who are destroying things. Because it's really, at the end of the day, it's people versus people. You have these people, you're trying to capitalize over these people because we're in capitalism. We're a capitalistic world technically. We're trying to gain over somebody else so they're working together as a society. Because it's, at the end of the day, there's only supposed to be one winner. And so, like what we need to do is so let me start again. Let's see. I'll say the when it comes to the COVID and all this stuff, I feel like there's a lot of rhetoric out there and to stray us into the wrong directions and then make us look everywhere and divide us. And they're really, the government and the powers that be are really good at using media to divide us. But when it comes to I guess I think it's us doing it, we're not eating right. We're not looking at our, at our DNA and see what we should be, what we should literally be eating. Because we went into this globalization world where people are just eating whatever they want. If your ancestors never ate that stuff, why are you eating it? And you're wondering why your face is all red and itchy and you're throwing up. We're eating processed foods constantly. Even though we claim about, that we have food deserts, why aren't we making gardens? That's a perfect opportunity to have a garden on every block. I don't want no grocery store, in my neighborhood. If I can have a garden, why would I bitch about that? And so we need to come together as a society and actually get these things done. And so, and what powers that be are doing is, they're distracting us and we're allowing to be distracted. And, we don't have to be distracted, but, we're creating this world. And I think it's at the end of the day, it's, you have to look in the mirror and say, why are we allowing this? So I don't think they're trying to destroy anything. I think they're trying to break everything down so that we can look in the mirror and build back better.
Well, I mean, I have to say that growing up in a first world nation, all right, I can't say to an extent we play a role in our downfall. Definitely, humans do. We definitely look for politicians to solve our issues that we can definitely solve ourselves. We look for them to feed and clothe us when we can sew our own clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like you could literally start becoming your own seamstress again. Farms, people can start growing more farms. I mean, well, I'm going to say this. If you live in a city, though, it's going to be a little harder. because a little windowsill farm is not going to house. It's not going to feed you for a long time. Okay, so it's nice, but that's not going to feed an entire family. A windowsill farm.
But that's when we gotta start working as communities again. And so, like, right now, like this little rack behind me, I'm building I live in an apartment, a studio, and so I have one of these racks, also on my patio, and I'm just starting a little farm for myself. I'm trying to, once I get it started, I want to get everybody on my floor to actually start doing the same thing. And if we all were actually, have a little indoor vertical garden that we can do year round, we can all exchange food. And then that's how everyone, someone will focus on cucumbers, someone will focus on tomatoes, someone focus on lettuce, whatever. And then we just constantly exchange. And I think if we did that and everyone did their part, we could do that. Because, it'll work. Because, it's not, it's just one wall I have. And so, it's all about working together as a team. We're humans. There's no society of humans that just lives out there by themselves. We see those in movies, but they have the worst life ever. And so we know that we have to work in communities.
So what do you think about this? I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see. Share this. Have you ever heard of this type of farming?
Yes. That farm is actually amazing. They use coconut shells to instead of soil.
Oh, really? So share your thoughts. What are some things you know about hydroponics and like how this is like the new craze and how they're saying like this is going to be the future of farming. It's not going to be what we think about. It's going to actually be more so in buildings, on the side of buildings, on top of buildings, around the buildings. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's utterly amazing. Like, I know, like, people don't like to hear about this, but the World Economic Forum, they have a whole dedicated section about this is how they want the world to change to, and then so is and so does our government. Like, if you go into the food sites, they're talking about how like the future wants to be urban. Or the future, what they want to see the future be is you're downtown to pick your own vegetables and pick your own fruits and pick your own goods, and that's where you don't go downtown for entertainment, you go for food. And I think that's the way to go. And when it comes to hydroponics, you can grow food with almost little to no pesticides because it's a controlled environment indoors. You can recycle the water because it's as it drips down, you can it goes into a pool and you can continually feed it and then add nutrients to it constantly, which is way better than our soil because we've destroyed our soil here in America, where there's I think 40% less nutrients than there was 60 years ago, and so we wonder why we're not feeling quite as healthy anymore because shit sucks. And so, that solves that problem, year-round food that's producing 3 times faster. So, that right there fixes those food shortages. I see hydroponics as the way to go.
Oh, okay. So this for anyone who is not familiar with hydroponic farming. It is basically in controlled environment agriculture. Also known as weather and climate proof farming, or more commonly indoor vertical farming, as the production of plants in an indoor environment. It says while indoor farming is not a new phenomenon, like greenhouses were used for centuries, right? The more recent innovation of hydroponic farming breaks down the growing process even further by eliminating all unnecessary components of traditional farming. So, but what about this? Can this open up a door of having like cloned meats and everything now is indoors? It's in laboratories, and this is something that a lot of us are saying we don't want to be eating in fake fruits and fake vegetables. Being that this is in a laboratory, is it possible that this can actually get to a point where we're eating cloned food and it becomes the norm now?
Well, so that's the funny thing about being about clones. So when you clone something, that means you're copying it to a T. You're making an exact copy. And so when you're making a clone that's an exact copy, it's exactly the same thing as the original. It's a clone. And so
Yeah, but can't they also like? But think about this: like you make a clone. Okay, let's make you make clone like carrots, right?
Mhm.
Clone carrots, but then you take out some components and you add another nefarious component, and you know
sort of
being that
like
yeah, but being that we're dealing with a government that is, or governments that are not as trustworthy, as we already established that they do play a lot of mind games, they do a lot of like shady stuff to maximize their profits. What if they can maximize their profits and create faster growing food by creating foods that actually probably don't even have the nutrient component inside of it anymore?
and so that could be possible. But once again, that's where we gotta check, we gotta check, what's going on. And that's another thing that, we have a tendency not to do anymore. We want to be given, the things, properly, but we don't want to take the time to test it out and verify, if everything's correct. We're just, we're the king, and we're assuming that they're going to give us stuff that's not poisoned. Instead of, having me like, yo, get Billy again to try it before I eat it. We're just going ahead and assuming. And so,
Yeah,
we need. I'm sorry.
yeah, well, remember, we're dealing with an environment of government systems that have poisoned our foods before. What about the technology when it brought out Teflon, and they were making the pots with Teflon, and after decades they come back and say, oh, you shouldn't be cooking with that, and now all these people have these side effects from cooking with Teflon and different type of surfaces. So not even just the plant itself, but the environment that the plant is in. So I'm looking at some of the plants, they're growing out of these like little beds, but who's to say that those beds may not have some type of toxic element inside of them? Like I mean, I think there's a lot of ways you can start look, especially when you start getting a private controlled. So you'll have a lot more private companies who are going to get into doing this. Doesn't mean that they're always going to be following the guidelines, to make sure that they're doing it properly or make sure it's even natural or safe, which is why in America we have something called OSHA, right? OSHA is literally for making sure that people are following the guidelines, FDA as well. But then again, we know that people do find loopholes. Is it possible that you can probably kill off a lot of people with doing something like this by giving them poisonous foods grown inside of a lab,
But
pretty
then,
much?
you also got acid rain that, hits our farms. You have people putting, like, I was called drugs and, garbage into our water table. And so that's a factor also. Our soil is being destroyed, and farmers are trying to produce so much food because it doesn't produce as fast as you do hydroponics, that, that's why our soil is depleting of nutrients, because we're not giving it time to let soil sit untouched for about a season or two. And so it all depends on, what the process, and, in the environment around you. Technically, we're damned if you do, we're damned if you don't. So might as well go for, what feeds us.
Right. Okay. Well, with that said, what's the future of Black people and technology? And when I say Black, as you should know, I always include the indigenous people as well
Mhm.
into that classification. So, being that we are moving towards a world that is saying we don't need tribalism,
Mhm.
right? That's becoming more of a thing now. So that's why I'm putting it into this category. So for Black people, what do you see this being? Where do they fit into this? Because right now in America, when it comes to statistics, pretty much Black people are last on every list. We can call it, and even when it comes to the tech world, we're not even really in there. Now you may have Nigerians and people from Africa that are competing in that right now. But when it comes to Americans, definitely that's not a thing. Like it's not on average. Where do they fit in the future?
Well, the thing is, I'm hoping that, we get back to what we used to do. Is created. I mean, we were enslaved for the longest time. But the thing is, even though we were not given the light that we're given, like still we built everything. Absolutely everything that's all the fundamental stuff that we use on a daily basis, it was built by us. Of course, it was credited to that one Thomas Edison guy or some other jackass. But the thing is, at the end, we still built it. And so I think we need to get in tune with the fact that like we are the essence of tech. Without us, it wouldn't be where it is today. And I think we forgot about that, and I think we need to get back into that and take control of what we created. Because now we're allowing others to use it to control us, which that's not how it's supposed to be. We created it, we need to control it, and I think we need to get back to that. But I think it's a scary aspect to think about, and I think subconsciously we are because of course past traumas, you got we had Black Wall Street, everything just beating that, subconsciously beating us down, generation after generation. But we need to get past that, and we need to take control, because this is we're not the minority technically, we are the majority on this planet, and we need to act like it.
I agree. We need to act on it. So like you said, a lot of the inventions that we use today, they were created by who we now consider Black Americans. Like, from your clothes hanger to your elevators to your, just to the smallest thing to the biggest thing. At the root of it, there is some sort of credit given to Black Americans at some point. But walking into the tech field, you're not seeing all the Black American faces. In fact, they're saying that AI has an ability to not even recognize us on certain scanning devices, right? Darker skinned people. Like you said, it's a little scary to think about, being in a world where people that don't look like you can control you now at a much easier rate by controlling you through tech. Also, I've noticed that even when I do the AI generated art, that I have to put Black and then XYXYZ. But if I just put XYXYZ, it just automatically is going to show me somebody white in the scenario that I painted. You know what I'm saying? So obviously there's something there where there always has to be it's a separate segregated element within it. I noticed that people were calling this out with Pinterest. Now this is just with Pinterest. That with Pinterest, we would type in braided hairstyles, right? This is like years ago. And like a bunch of white women would pop up with braids. You're like, like, wait, what? Now, because Pinterest has to kind of take some accountability, that their algorithm is catered towards the wider race of this country, of this world. It's not catered towards anyone else, right? Even if we are the majority. So with Pinterest now, they have options to where you could pick, when you write in a category, say braided hairstyles, you can actually pick what skin tone. Yeah, I don't even know what that means, but you could pick whatever color skin tone you are, and then it will show you women that are close to skin tone complexion with the actual keywords that you just searched. So I guess they're trying to find ways to be more inclusive, but at the root of it is like, this is not designed with me and mine. It's not. So what do you think about that, and the fact that we have to always kind of create a separate algorithm for the darker skinned people of this planet?
And that's caused because from what I've seen, going to different conventions, all that stuff, is because we don't have all Black tech companies. I mean, if we built the software, we'll make it in our own image, and because it's our creation, and that's how it works for anybody who becomes a creator, which is similar to a god. You create something in your own image, and so we need more people of our own image, forefront, making these technologies, making these social media programs. Because and then pretty much what will end up happening is we will have the white folks will have to be like, I have to put in white every single time just to get white folks in the image. and so and so
I guess then they would see how it feels, right?
And that's something I wish we saw more of. Like I know there's a Black Tech conference that I just recently found that goes on like in Texas. So I didn't make it this
Okay.
year, but I want to check out the next one. But yeah, I think we need to start start making these these Black owned tech companies, these and just start pushing stuff out ourselves. It's one thing to join a team, but it's another thing to create the team that does the stuff, and that's what we need to do. Like joining is great, but we need to we need to be the the owners, not the employees.
That's right. Give me 1 minute, 1 second. I'm gonna stop recording. Okay. So you said there's a convention in Texas for Black people. So like we both kind of explained, there's a concern of living in a world where those that don't look like you are kind of creating your reality. And like you said, if you're the creator, you are kind of like the God in that moment of what you want to see. So going forward though, what are some ways that we can start getting more and more Black people, Black and Indigenous people, to get into the tech world and not be intimidated by it?
Um, it would just be, I guess, it would just be just doing it. Like, I mean, intimidation is something you can't get rid of. It's, everything is daunting no matter what it is. Especially when you don't know what it is, or you don't know much about it, or it's new to you. And so we can't get rid of, the intimidation part. We just gotta, just, I guess, not to be a misogynist thing, but we just gotta man up, and start taking over stuff,
But
And
do
so,
you feel like there's a racial element though
yes,
of why you don't see a lot of people that look like us in there?
yes. I mean, just being in the tech world, there's a lot of racist assholes who are managers, and they literally make it difficult for us. Like I've had many jobs where I've been told this several jobs, like everybody can go home except for you, and I'm like, oh. Okay then. That's kind of fucked up. I don't like you no more. I'm gonna quit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is it? But is the racism is it hostile to where, like you said, on a job site, it will make you want to quit. It make you not want to be in this industry.
Yeah. It does feel sometimes hostile, but then again, we live in a hostile world, and so I can't, I can't expect the world to, I guess, be easy for me whatsoever. And it being Buddhist, we don't want the world to be easy for us. We actually, like, I lucked out by being a Japanese Buddhist, where we seek obstacles, we seek difficulty, and because what happens is like when you have a difficult situation, and then you overcome it, you appreciate it more, and then you feel more accomplished that you got what you got, and then you overcame what you did, and so like I think we need to embrace these obstacles, look for all of them that we can find, and overcome it, and then take over. Because I mean, it's the only strategy I know of that will really, get us where we need to get. Just like, yeah, just seeking obstacles, and then embracing this hellhole.
Right, and I have to agree. I mean, we just kind of take over. I feel that right now we're in a very interesting time period, as you can see, and I'm sure you've seen it. It's hard to miss it. There has been a lot of like diaspora wars between different people, and there's been a lot of questions of ethnicity, question of this and that, a slave trade. There's a lot of stuff that just, to be honest, like, even though I love to educate people about the past history and how we are where we are, sometimes I don't want that to be a distraction though about where we should be going, and sometimes it can be a distraction. I do think that in the future, we're going to have to find a way to find a common ground to work with other melanated nations around the world to start taking over the tech industry. We're going to have to do it. Right now, I don't really like where we are as Americans in this situation, because like, think about it, I'm hearing that in Silicon Valley, they're literally recruiting like people from India to come and work, And even Indians, they're creating their own caste system because apparently, in their countries, the darker Indians, they get certain types of jobs. And then the lighter Indians, they're getting like the higher, I guess, the higher pace or higher paid jobs, even in Silicon Valley, right? They're kind of implementing this caste system. So you definitely don't want to get to a point that amongst us, we start to implement a caste system too, if not by color, but by nationality. If you're not African, you can't get the highest paying job. Or if you're not an American, you can't get this highest paying job in tech. And I'm like, I just kind of see the divide. And though I think it's good that we're kind of hashing out the differences and we're trying to not really find, some people are finding, some people are not trying to find it. But, you don't want to take this to a place where you start to exclude people out of opportunities. Yeah. And, and I don't want that to happen. So I know that, like I said, West Africa right now, they are putting a lot of money into Ghana, into Nigeria, to be in this race of tech. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think tech here in America is going to fundamentally change pretty soon. What I think our downfall of why they're hiring from I guess overseas and bringing it in America is because we don't have tech here in America. We are consumers of tech, but we don't actually build tech here.
Hold on. Say that one more time. That's a good point. Say that again.
We're consumers of tech. We don't actually build tech, and that's going to fundamentally change though in 2 years. I guess 1 year now because it's 2023. And so because we're bringing everything back to America now. Because in the 90s, I think, I'm not sure it was Bill or one of the Bush kids or whatever. They sent everything to Taiwan, over to China, over to Thailand to do our manufacturing. And so that lets us sort of just really being the consumers. And so, and the issue that happened with China in this last couple of years, and also with Russia, they've made it a new act or a new thing that they're actually going to shut down all those factories. Literally, all the ones in Taiwan that we buy our stuff from or everything's produced. Those are all coming back to America, and they're all going to be lined up across our Bible Belt. Which I think that a lot of our our communities are in those areas, and so.
Right. I was going to say that's a good and bad thing because that's why there was such a fight for, I don't know if you heard the situation with Mason, Tennessee. Did you hear about that?
No. What happened?
Okay. So apparently with Mason, Tennessee, the mayor, they had some issues with they had some debts pretty much at the higher level of the city. The mayor is, the city was in hella debt. And there's a lot of finger pointing on who did it, at how long the debt been there. But either the case may have been, they literally kind of like the mayor just kind of wanted to pay off the debt by giving a contract to, I wish I can remember. I think it's Ford. I think it was Ford.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is they're going to start mass producing electric cars in that area. So not only is Ford, or is either GM or Ford, not only are they going to come, let me look it up because I want to make sure I'm correct. I'll look it up and then I'll ask you a question. But not only are they going to come, but they're also talking about they're in bed with China to start producing lithium batteries as well in that area. So so like you said, that's in that kind of Bible Belt area. What do you think about that though? More of these tech companies coming into these smaller areas where a lot of small Black towns are still today. A lot of these people still have their land today, but they're slowly but surely being bought out to give that up and allow these companies to come. What's your thoughts?
I guess that's so if we embrace technology a lot more than we currently are right now. I think that'll be a good thing because then that'll give pretty much people I guess a goal and a skill to strive for, so that way they can move up in these companies and then be part of these these tech communities. If it I don't like the fact that it will create huge gentrification issues where it will really just change the people out. But that's why we need to embrace tech more than we currently are. and if we don't embrace it, you know, the owners are going to bring in people who will embrace it. And so it's technically, I think it's up to us. So it's either, you know, we make the factories ourselves, or we embrace it and we join we join the teams that are, you know, that are coming in. And if not, then of course, you know, evolution do its play, and you'll get rid of who doesn't fit the scenario. You know, is adaptation, you know. And so that's why I think, you know, we can't just wish and hope things stay the same and nothing changes, because that's not realistic. Everything changes. Everything, you know. And so we either go with the change, or we have to, you know, get up and then start where, you know, where we left off at in that last place, somewhere else. And we don't want to do that anymore. We're tired of moving, you know. So we have to just either, you know, let it be ours, own it, or, you know, join it. So I think that's our only two choices if we want to stay there, wherever we're at. So
yeah, and like I said, that is becoming the reality for a lot of families, is that they're realizing that either, and little people know they're already kind of joining tech. You know, I know a lot of people are trying to find a way to fight it, but even your most conspiracists, you know, you got one of these, you know. You know. So, you know, even for me as a person that I keep tabs on a lot of current events when it deals with tech and how it can change our reality from how we know it or how we thought we want the world to be. You know, I still like to be a realist and understand that I have literally kind of indulged myself in tech at this point. Mm-hmm. And what am I going to do about that? Am I going to run and say no, or am I going to find a way to start controlling the narrative of tech? Because that's literally where we are right now. It's like, all right, you got your phones, you love your Facebook, your Twitters, you love all your stuff. So what are you going to do to change the reality to where it's not in a whitewashed world? You know, that I think that's the challenge that we are. But final words. So one more time, let me see your hand.
Yeah. Chip up there.
Yeah, you got the bionic hand.
I'm eventually gonna get a chip also right here, so because I want this to glow green because it's a tree. Yeah.
Wait. Excuse. Let me see it one more time.
So yeah, so I'm big into camping, and so I want to have in this tree right here. I want it to glow green.
You know what? I can't. I can't. So what's your last words for the audience? Because I definitely think with this conversation, like, it's hard to just, I want to cram so much in this conversation with you, but it was just like so much to talk about, you know? So I'm like, oh, dang, like we done been here over an hour now. So I would definitely love, you know, if you ever had time in the future to come back. Yeah. As the technology continues to grow and things continue to change, I definitely would love to have you back, because I feel like, yeah, we need to start having these serious conversations. I hear people say, yeah, learn how to code. Okay, yeah, you know, that's a part of it. But we definitely need to talk about it. So tell us, what's your last words for everyone about you, technology, and, you know, how we should start preparing for the future.
I was like don't listen to the rhetoric. The marketing beast is, you know, is a story that we believe it's true, but it's not. So we, you know, and then you know, it's our tech, and so we should own it.
Well, there you have it. He says it's our tech, we should own it. All right. Well, thank you so much, David. It was a pleasure having you, and I can't wait to see you again. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate you. This is awesome.
Thank you.